It all started on a quiet Sunday afternoon, and somehow, she had decided I was the only person she could trust with it. I wish I had said no. Rachel had always been the strong one between us. The calm, collected older sister who always had it together. But that day, she looked like a stranger. And what she confessed next. I still remember the exact words because they hit me like a punch to the chest. I think I'm in love with someone else. And it's not Derek. Derek, her husband of 6 years. A man who adored her. A man who helped her through her miscarriage last year. A man who had been nothing but loyal and patient. Hearing those words made my heart sink. I wanted to believe it was a moment of weakness. I wanted to think it was something fixable. But Rachel wasn't confessing because she wanted advice. She was telling me because the affair had already started. And now she needed my help to cover it up. I was stunned. I didn't know what to say. My instincts told me to shut it down, to tell her she was making a mistake, that she was going to ruin lives, including her own. But before I could respond, she grabbed my hand and whispered, "Please, just don't tell anyone. I don't know who else to trust." In that moment, I made the worst decision of my life. I said okay. What followed was weeks of lies, guilt, and watching my sister disappear into someone I didn't recognize anymore. I had no idea how deep this secret would run, or how much damage it would cause. Because secrets like these? They don't stay buried for long. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, Derek found something. Something he was never supposed to see. Derek had always been the kind of guy people admired, kind, hardworking, the type who remembered anniversaries and brought flowers for no reason. He and Rachel seemed perfect from the outside. They had a cozy house in the suburbs, a little golden retriever named Max, and dreams of starting a family again after the miscarriage. No one could have guessed what was happening behind closed doors. Not even me. At first, helping Rachel felt like just being there for my sister. She told me little things, when she was meeting him, what lies she had told Derek, how guilty she felt but couldn't stop. I listened, but each word she said pushed me deeper into a mess I didn't ask for. Every time my phone lit up with her name, I braced myself. I didn't want to know more, but how could I turn her away? She was my sister. I loved her. But the more I covered for her, the more I felt like I was betraying Derek too. He wasn't just her husband, he was family to me. And yet, I was helping her lie to him. The man she was seeing, she never gave me a name, just said he was someone from work. He understands me, she kept saying. He makes me feel alive again. It scared me how convinced she sounded. It was like she had created this whole other world, and she was slowly drifting away from the life she had built with Derek. I wanted to believe it was a phase. That maybe she'd snap out of it. But she didn't. She kept falling deeper, and I was the only one who knew. Then one night, Derek called me. His voice was calm, too calm. He asked if I'd seen Rachel that afternoon. My stomach turned. I remembered what she had told me, she was going to meet him again, but she said she'd cover her tracks. So I lied. I told Derek I hadn't heard from her. There was a long pause. Then he said, "I found something strange in her car. A receipt for a hotel. 2 dinners. 1 room." My heart dropped. He didn't accuse her. He didn't yell. He just thanked me and hung up. But I could feel it, something had shifted. Derek wasn't stupid. And now he had a reason to start looking deeper. I knew it was only a matter of time before everything started to unravel, and when it did, I wasn't sure if Rachel was ready for what was coming. After that phone call with Derek, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the receipt. The room. The dinners. All the tiny lies that Rachel had spun were now starting to surface. Derek wasn't just suspicious, he was quietly gathering proof. And I was right in the middle of it all, lying to both of them and losing sleep over every word. The next morning, Rachel came over like nothing had happened. She laughed about a text someone sent her at work, poured herself a cup of coffee, and acted like we were still in some innocent world. I wanted to shake her. I wanted to yell, "He knows something." But I didn't. I sat there, smiling weakly, watching her unravel while pretending she still had control. That was the hardest part, seeing how far she was from the sister I grew up with. Then came the twist I didn't expect. Derek started talking to me more often. Texting to ask if Rachel had seemed different. Calling late at night, almost like he needed a friend. It was awkward at first, but slowly I realized he was opening up to me in a way he probably hadn't done with Rachel in months. He sounded broken. Confused. And worst of all, hurt. Not angry, not bitter, just trying to understand what went wrong in his marriage. I felt like the worst person in the world. One evening, Derek told me he was considering hiring a private investigator. My chest tightened. I asked him why. He said, because something's wrong. And I don't think she's going to tell me the truth. That same night, Rachel texted me, "Need a favor. Can you tell Derek I was with you today?" I stared at the screen for what felt like forever. I had lied so many times already, but this one felt heavier. Because now, I wasn't just helping her hide a secret, I was standing in the way of someone finding the truth. Someone who deserved it. Meanwhile, I started noticing Rachel changing even more. She was distracted, moody, snapping at little things. Sometimes she'd cry out of nowhere. And once, when I asked her if she was okay, she just said, "I think I'm in too deep now. I don't know how to get out." That was the first time she sounded scared. But it was already too late. Because Derek wasn't the only one digging. I had started looking for answers too, and what I found made everything worse. I couldn't ignore it anymore. The pressure of the lies, the guilt of covering for Rachel, and the heaviness in Derek's voice every time he called, it all started to eat away at me. I kept replaying everything in my head, every conversation, every excuse, every favor she asked me to do. And now, with Derek quietly digging and Rachel falling apart in front of me, I felt like I was standing on thin ice that could break at any moment. So I made a decision. I needed to know who he was, the man Rachel was risking everything for. I went through her social media, her tagged photos, even scrolled through old posts from her coworkers. And then I found something. A blurry photo from an office dinner 2 months ago. Everyone was smiling, but Rachel was sitting next to a man I didn't recognize, close, too close. His hand was resting just behind her chair, and she was looking at him, not the camera. Something about the way she looked at him made my stomach drop. I didn't tell her what I found. Not yet. I needed to be sure. So I waited. A few days later, she came over, distracted as usual, flipping through her phone, barely making eye contact. I brought up the dinner photo casually, like I had just stumbled on it. Her face went pale. She laughed it off, said, "Oh, that's just Mark. He's harmless." But her voice cracked when she said his name. That night, I looked up Mark. Turns out, he wasn't just a coworker. He was married. 2 kids. A whole life that Rachel had conveniently left out. That's when it hit me, this wasn't just a fling. This was a full-blown double life. And now, I was tangled in it with no way out. Meanwhile, Derek texted me again. This time, it was different. He sent a photo. Not of Rachel. Of Mark. Standing next to her car in a parking lot at night. He wrote, "Thought you said she was with you." My heart sank. Everything was closing in. Rachel was falling deeper into something she couldn't control. Derek was finally putting the pieces together. And me? I was stuck in the middle, holding a secret that was about to explode. The lies were catching up with all of us, and the truth was just seconds away from breaking everything apart. I stared at the photo on my phone, my fingers trembling. Derek had caught them, Rachel and Mark. The grainy image was proof, undeniable and sharp like a knife. And the worst part? It came from him. The man I had been lying to, defending my sister to, pretending everything was fine. There was no more pretending now. He hadn't said anything else. Just that one message. Thought you said she was with you. It was the silence after that text that scared me the most. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't even think straight. I just sat there, phone in hand, wondering if I had just ruined everything by not stopping this earlier. I tried to call Rachel, but she didn't answer. I texted her, no response. My mind spiraled. Was she okay? Did Derek confront her? Or worse, did he confront Mark? The next day, Rachel finally showed up. She looked exhausted. Hair a mess, eyes puffy, and she barely got through the front door before collapsing onto the couch. He knows, she whispered, voice shaking. He didn't say anything at first. Just handed me his phone, showed me the photo. I couldn't even lie. I just stood there. She looked at me then, almost like she expected me to fix it. Like I had some kind of answer. But I was just as lost as she was. What did he do? I asked, heart pounding. He walked away, she said. Packed a bag and left the house. Didn't say a word. It should have ended there. But it didn't. Later that night, Rachel got a call. I was still with her, trying to figure out what we'd do next. The phone rang, and she answered without looking. Then her face changed, color drained completely. What? She said, barely breathing. That's not possible. I leaned in, and she put the phone on speaker. It was one of her coworkers from HR. Rachel, I hate to call you this late, but there's something you should know. Mark didn't come into work today, and there was a security alert this morning. His access badge was used after hours last night. Alone. Just him. Rachel froze. What do you mean? There was an incident in the building, the voice said. His car is still in the lot. We haven't been able to reach him. Now it wasn't just about infidelity or broken trust. This was something else entirely. Something bigger. Something darker. Suddenly, it wasn't just about Rachel's secret affair or my decision to stay quiet. It was about what happened after that photo. After Derek knew. After Mark disappeared. And in that moment, I realized none of us were prepared for what came next. Because secrets like this don't just destroy relationships, they unravel lives. Rachel stared at the wall like she wasn't even breathing. The silence after the call felt like it lasted forever. I didn't know what to say. Neither of us did. Mark had vanished. His car was still there. His badge was used after hours. Something was wrong, seriously wrong, and for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. Not guilt, not regret. Just fear. We drove to Mark's office building. The parking lot was half empty, and sure enough, his car was still there, parked neatly like he had never left. Security lights flickered overhead, and a guard stood by the front entrance. Rachel approached him, trying to act calm. I'm a coworker. I need to know if Mark's okay. The guard looked unsure but then lowered his voice. All I know is the cameras showed him going inside alone around midnight. He never came back out. Cops came earlier, checked the place. Said nothing looked forced. But no sign of him. Just his stuff in his office. Rachel stepped back like she was going to faint. I caught her arm. We need to tell Derek, I said. She shook her head, panicking. No. He'll think I had something to do with it. You don't know how he looked at me last night, but we didn't have a choice anymore. Derek deserved the truth. All of it. I called him and asked him to meet us. When he showed up, he looked tired, older somehow, like the weight of everything had finally caught up to him. He didn't say much, just listened as Rachel told him everything. The affair. The hotel. The lies. She left nothing out. Then, for the first time, Derek spoke. I didn't want to believe it. But I knew something wasn't right. That night. I followed you. I saw him meet you. I took that photo. But I also saw something else. Rachel and I exchanged a confused look. I saw Mark get into his car and drive off alone, Derek said. That photo I sent you? It was from earlier in the evening. After he left, I went home. So if his badge was used after that, someone else used it. That's when it hit all three of us. Someone had used Mark's badge, but it might not have been Mark. 2 days later, the police called. Mark had been found. Alive. He had staged his disappearance to escape everything, his marriage, his job, and Rachel. He had left the badge behind on purpose to cause confusion and buy time to disappear. The final twist? He had also been seeing someone else. Rachel wasn't the only secret he had kept. And just like that, the man who pulled her into a double life had already moved on to another one of his own. Rachel was left standing in the wreckage, her marriage in pieces, her secret out, and the man she thought she loved gone. And me? I finally said the words I should have said from the start. I can't keep your secrets anymore. After it all came crashing down, the silence between us lasted weeks. Rachel stayed at Mom's for a while, too ashamed to face Derek or even me. She barely spoke, barely ate. It was like everything had been stripped away, her marriage, the man she thought she loved, and the life she had tried so hard to control. The truth about Mark hit her harder than anything else. He hadn't just lied to his family, he'd lied to her too. She wasn't special to him. She was just one more secret he'd planned to leave behind. Derek filed for separation quietly. He didn't make a scene, didn't scream, didn't try to hurt her. I think that's what stung the most for Rachel. He just let go. That calm, collected man who used to bend over backward for her had finally found his breaking point. And in a strange way, his silence was louder than any argument could have been. The trust was gone. There was no fixing what had been broken. As for me, I learned something I wish I didn't have to learn this way. Keeping someone's secret, especially one that big, doesn't make you loyal. It makes you responsible for the damage that secret causes. I thought I was helping her by staying quiet. I thought I was being a good sister. But in the end, I enabled the lie. I became part of the betrayal. And the worst part? I lost a friend in Derek. Someone who had trusted me too. Rachel eventually started therapy. She needed to. She had a lot to unpack, her choices, her guilt, and the root of why she strayed in the first place. I'm not sure if she'll ever fully understand it herself, but she's trying. And maybe that's all she can do for now. Some wounds take longer to heal than others. A few months later, Derek moved out of state for a new job. We didn't say goodbye. He just left quietly, like he was ready to start over without any of us. And honestly, I don't blame him. He deserved peace after everything. This whole experience changed me. It taught me how fragile relationships are, how trust is everything, and how secrets, no matter how carefully kept, always find their way out. It also reminded me how important it is to speak up, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. If you're watching this and you're in a situation where someone asks you to carry a secret that doesn't feel right, listen to your gut. Some secrets don't protect people, they destroy them. And sometimes, saying no is the most loving thing you can do. This was a true infidelity story that spiraled far beyond cheating. It became a lesson in choices, silence, and truth. And if I could go back to that day when Rachel first asked me to keep her secret, I know now, I would have said number 45.